Greetings, brothers and sisters. Glad to be here. We should have an interesting day today and an interesting show. And the devil is always busy. I tell people all the time, Satan is busy. He's not wasting time around here, worried about what you're doing or what I'm doing or what we're talking about or the latest gossip or anything like that. The devil is busy. He's on his business to destroy black people. And I say that because I know when you find out, excuse me, brothers and sisters, when you find out who the devil is, then you understand why I say that the devil is busy. But first of all, you got to find out who the devil is. You got to know who the devil is. Is that right? We got to know who the devil is. So today, brothers and sisters, right? Just like Jesus said it, right? He said, the day you hear my voice, harden not your heart. Isn't that right? So what did he mean by this? His voice is a voice of reason. His voice is a voice of truth. Isn't that right? The truth hour. And anytime you're telling truth, you got to have obstacles. You got to know that. If you're standing up for righteousness, standing up for truth, you got to have obstacles. And the fact that you're standing says a lot. You know, people will come against you for telling the truth. Right now, there are Muslims angry with me, black Muslims angry with me because I'm putting out the truth as it relates to Minister Farrakhan. Not saying what I think or because I used to be under the haze. I'm not telling you what I think, I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I know. And they are loyalists to Farrakhan. They're rank and file. They never held a position, never held a post, never held anything important, never done it. But they have been afraid to soul search, because the only people we can soul search is ourselves. Soul search and have some humility and some honesty. Humility and honesty. And that's what we have to have today. We've got to have some humility and we got to have some honesty. And when we do that and we search deep within ourselves, then you and I will find out when we look at leaders with expectation, but in realism, we have to have realism, but look at them with expectations to be human. Then we can see how we can bear them up and hold them up. And if we do that, we'll be responsible. We won't have to lie for them. We won't have to lie. We can be responsible. You understand what I'm saying? And that means that we got to stay on course, brothers and sisters. We got to stay on course. We don't have a choice but to stay on course. And on this course I'm on, I seek to find people who are loyal to the truth. Loyal to the truth. We got to be. You may love someone, right? But your loyalty to them will force them to deal with what's in front of them. And it has to be dealt with, brothers and sisters. We have not made any black leaders, it's a shame, deal with what's in front of them, or deal with their actions, or deal with what has been done. There is no leaders beyond reproach. This is the white man's teaching. This is the white man's teaching. You should expect to be tried. You should expect to be questioned. You should expect to be spiritually, physically, or rather spiritually and emotionally and psychologically prodded so that we can get to the bottom of what's going on. And we have to deal with foundational teaching. We got to. Because when we deal with foundational teaching, it doesn't matter where the teaching comes from as it relates to black people. See, because the white man ain't got no foundational teaching. But when we talk about black people, we have to deal with foundational teachers and point out truths. Now, we're going to have a show tonight. It's not going to be very long. It's going to be normal to short, a normal to short show. Because by 9 o'clock, rather 10 o'clock Eastern time, I intend and I look forward to discussing with the brother. I hope he's wise and mature enough to have discussions. with me concerning some questions he have. And he makes claims. You know, you got a lot of people that make claims. You have so many people that make claims. I mean, you can stand, right? I was fortunate enough to know the people in my life. That's common knowledge. The story has been carried by major media and all of that because I stood up for what I believed in. I've always done it. From the age of 12, I met Dr. Khalid Muhammad. We knew him earlier, but got a chance to work with him. And at 12, August, I believe it was August 28, 1986, we were given the rights to Organization for Afro-American Unity from Miss Ella Little Collins, who was very, very formative in Minister Malcolm's life. Very formative in Minister Malcolm's life. And so I was blessed. I was blessed at this commemoration of Minister Malcolm to be there again because of Dr. Khalid, because of, and that's Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, because of Miss Alex Haley. Khalid had got in touch with Miss Alex Haley. It would be the first time that I would meet him. It wouldn't be the last, but he didn't have long because he passed away somewhere around the early 90s. Had the opportunity to have an interview with Sister Betty Shabazz. 3 different interviews, two strong interviews. I had a chance to meet the family, who were very kind, especially Ilyasha was very kind. All of them were kind. And I was fortunate. My grandfather worked with Miss Coretta King. Did you know that Miss Coretta King also loved Dr. Khalid Muhammad? She loved him, absolutely appreciated his spirit, his force, and approved for what he was doing. Also, Steve Coakley, who we'll be talking about tonight, was the one that in the investigation of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he allowed me to help him in that. So I was able to get hired, some of my first pay at that age, to be able to do that. So this is common knowledge to the Black nationalist community. It's only the people who don't know that that are shocked. But I've been around a long time. Happy to say it, and been able to assist in many different ways. Every major organization, every major movement that was planned from the time that I was a child, with the help of my grandfather, my father, and coming into my teenage years, I was able to be a part of. So I was thankful, and I am thankful to do that. And I've lended my support on many things. But when you know you stand on Black nationalism, you don't get paid for it, brothers and sisters. It's not something you get paid for. So we're going to start the show. We're going to give people time to come. And we're going to start the show. We're going to be talking about these things. But I'm so thankful that you would find it in your heart to be here at the show. I want to say peace be unto you. I want to say peace to Brother Bruce Kareem. As usual, one of the pillars of the show, and we know we have other pillars of the show that will be on. I think all praises be to Allah for them. I want to say peace to Brother Corey J. Our brother Bruce says, peace be unto you. Continue to stand strong, brother. I appreciate that. I certainly intend to stand strong. I intend to be strong and continue in the work. Certainly continue in the work. And our brother Corey J says, Elijah Muhammad gave us supreme wisdom in Scientology. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us supreme wisdom, not Scientology, nor Ramadan. Eric Muhammad and Melchizedek disagreed with Farrakhan to feel that Ishmael is not Elijah Muhammad's son. Brother, I'm so happy that you're saying that. I'm so happy, brother. Oh, my brother, that's a discussion in itself. Brothers and sisters, we're going to have an amazing time tonight. And I say, welcome, Brother Corey. Welcome to our show. And, brother, feel free to become a pillar on this show and to support it. We're going to have a great time tonight because we're going to talk about truth. And I'll be on Taharka Bay's show tonight, too. To talk about the truth of Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Because there's a lot of people that will say that they know Dr. Khalid Muhammad. There are plenty of them that say it, they claim it, but you come to find out that they don't know anything about Dr. Khalid Muhammad. You had a lot of people around taking these fan pictures, brother. Fan pictures. You know. I know people that helped Dr. Khalid that never sought to get in front of no camera because that wasn't our job, and we knew that the only time that people were eager to do that is when they were agents. And so all agents had to have pictures, they had to have time to make presentations. You know, you'll never find a nationalist, black nationalist that are just ready and jumping to get in the picture with somebody. You'll never find a black nationalist. This is under Dr. Khaled's teaching. You'll never find a black nationalist that is jumping, ready to go down and just march, right, without strategic instruction. And you didn't see Dr. Khalid marching often. He only did it on certain occasions. There was a reason for that. Let's bring attention to this. Let's make an evolution. Let's build the army. And he would tell you that he's building an army to fight the white man. He wasn't around there to brandish weapons or to leak on Facebook or whatever. We don't have our magazines and our weapons, stuff like that. Or setting people up. All of this foolish stuff, brothers and sisters. Foolish stuff. Dr. Khalid wouldn't have done that. And he didn't like white people. He didn't like them. He knew that there were certain exceptions, but he didn't like them. He said all are racist. All of them are racist, and I agree. Every white man, woman, no matter, I don't care who it is. I don't care if they're married to blacks. They're racist. All of them may not act in racism, but all of them are complicit in racism. And you have to understand that being complicit in racism is worse than acting in racism because it means you give approval to the situation of what's going on. Right? The one who acts out in frustration. Isn't that right? And I'm speaking from a clinician side now. Abnormal psychology tells us that frustrated people will act out. So we have to understand that. Right? We have to understand that. So these are weaker pawns in the game of chess. Isn't that right? Because that's what it is. This is a chess game. Now, black man is fighting to get his power, fighting to take over this kingdom. Isn't that right? Fighting to take over this corporation. That's what Dr. Khalid was building from. This is what he meant by his parable of the spider web. Do you understand what I'm saying, brothers and sisters? And when you have been with the teacher, when you've been with a teacher, then you know the voice of that teacher. And you know, even if that speech or whatever is coming from someone else, and they said that this brother said this, so and so forth, brother, you know, Jesus even said, he said, my sheep know the sound of my voice. And brothers and sisters, we are organizing. There are people out there that are foolish, that are being foolish right now. God is causing us to come together to organize against the evil that we see going on in the world today, and we will have to form a holy and righteous army with arms, with weapons, the same as Israel did. Israel fought, brothers and sisters. Don't you know that Israel fought against their enemies? The black man as a holy nation is going to have to fight against his enemies. Can't carry marshmallows to a gunfight, brothers and sisters. And we can't do it with Muslims being in the police force. Can't do it. Can't do it. So we have a challenge before us. We have a challenge. Don't forget to thumbs up and like, brothers and sisters. Please. Everyone that's out there, please thumbs up. Always thumb up. We can use it. We can use it. Or thumbs down. We have those that don't approve, give us a thumb down. That's fine. We don't mind. We'll take the thumb down as well. Just to let us know you're out there. But certainly thumbs up or thumb down. Like and subscribe. Please subscribe. We want to get up to that 500 and then push to get the other 500 so that we can get this truth out. We don't have enough people teaching black liberation theology, we don't have enough people. And we are the only game in town that's going to preach, isn't that right? Black liberation theology, and we preach it willfully. The white man hadn't sent us out. We're not agents. We fight against the agents. That's right, fight against black agents, right? And we'll take them out if we have to. Yes, yes, because when the war takes off, you will find that these agents will be the first pawns. I told you we're playing a game of chess. That the king and queen will send out against us. And we're just trying to take back the kingdom that's been taken from us, brothers and sisters. That's what we're here to do. To set the record straight and to keep the foundation. To set the record straight and keep the foundation. We have to build a defense army for ourselves to protect us. This is real. Our brothers and sisters are getting killed, and we have to point these things out. That's the reason why I have the show today. So it's going to be a very interesting show. We're going to talk about some things that may be uncomfortable to other people, but it will be respectful, I promise. As usual, and as a brother, and as a minister, and as a clinician, I will never do anything less, because I want to give you sterile knowledge. I want to give you sterile knowledge for your mind, and to build up your mind, and to make you strong. That's my job. It's my duty. It's my job and my duty to do that. And so, brothers and sisters, this night, you'll get a chance to have some understanding. And please, any questions that you have, please drop it in the chat. Don't forget, we have books, brothers and sisters, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about it. I want to thank all of those for the cash app that they sent, and I'll definitely touch up on those so that you will know. I'm putting the cash app in now, and I'll touch up on those to thank those who have sent cash app, and I'm very thankful because we certainly need it. Anytime you're standing up against this enemy, brothers and sisters, anytime you're standing up against this enemy, he's going to do whatever it takes to keep you down. I mean, absolutely whatever it takes, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. That's his job. That's what he does. And so we pray that we can have a great time tonight. We pray that we can have a great time tonight. We know that the devil will come in and has come in to try to freeze the channel, to try to freeze us out. We already know it, right? We already know that the devil will try to destroy this show. We know that. So heads up, heads up. We're standing on the side of God. And God is on our side because we're standing for justice. So we know that he's on our side. We certainly know that he's on our side. Brothers and sisters, we've got to stand strong, continue to put out truth, and weather through the storm. We got to. Because we are fighting. We are, not only are we fighting, brothers and sisters, we're on the losing end. We're on the losing end. Right now we are. Right now we're on the losing end. Right? Right now we're on the losing end. We've got to get back on the side of justice. Isn't that right? Get back on the side of truth. Got to get on it. We've got to get on it. Because it's not until we get on the side of justice and get on the side of truth that we're going to be able to get in front of this situation that have had us bound for so long. And all of us will have to get on that situation. All of us will have to be on the same sheet of music. All of us will have to be on the same channel. We have to. We don't have a choice. So tonight we're going to be talking about Coakley's explanation. Steve Coakley, that's Steve Coakley, of Farrakhan in Dr. Khaled's Assassination Attempt Part 1. And a lot of people are going to say, well, he retracted that, and I'll tell you why he retracted it too. We're going to talk about that tonight. Because, same thing, anytime you make a claim against any holy leader where you have people following, that are blind, deaf, and dumb, right? Because a true holy leader, we have a true holy leader, then we have false prophets. And anytime you follow someone that someone considers righteous, right? No matter how they're living, right? Someone that someone considers righteous, they gonna always have trouble. Steve caught trouble from Farrakhan's men. Now, whether Farrakhan had anything to do with it or not, I don't know. I find it hard to believe that there was no discussion that went on, because normally in Farrakhan's Nation of Islam, there's a discussion that goes on before any evolution happens from any race, especially the FOI. Especially. He wants complete 100% submission. 100%. So he's not like Elijah. He don't teach and prepare the mind to evolve, to understand how to respond, what's at stake, and what risk that you're taking. Not like Elijah. Farrakhan wants complete submission. And there's a threat. The history of Farrakhan's moves is to not just mop it, or rather stop that threat, but to mop it up. Telling you what I know. You can accept it, right? Or you can leave it alone. This is a fact. This is how he moves, brothers and sisters. And this is from years, this observation study. I remember the question came, brother, you're making these statements, so you need to be sure about what you're saying. Oh, I'm sure about what I'm saying. I've never said anything in my life that I wasn't willing to lay down my life for. I'm going to stand as a man. That's one thing I'm going to do. I won't be bullied. We can all die, brothers and sisters. I tell brothers all the time, look, I don't have a problem with you, brother, but I'm going to speak the truth. And I pray that you can accept the truth or question it or leave it alone. Because that's your choice. You can accept it or leave it alone. But when you talk about threatening my life or the life of my family, I hope you can carry it out. Because I know I can carry it out. If I say something, I'm going to carry it out, and it's going to be planned. If that's what it takes. Because I'm going to protect my family, I'm going to protect myself, so I can be there for my family. But the truth has to be told. So, we were talking about Dr. Khalid. Now, we talked about Steve, and we gave a base foundation. We explained Dr. Khalid as it relates to Dr. Steve, because Dr. Khalid or Dr. Khalid was the one that found Steve Coakley. Not that he was lost, because Steve worked under Mayor Harold Washington. He was the assistant in his special committee, right, on rules under Mayor Washington, right? Mayor Washington, Harold Washington of Chicago, and any major players to have that position, right, assistant to the special committee under the mayor, to have that job, this brother had to be fully knowledge, he had to be completely open, and had to know everything that was going on in the city around him at all times. That's including feuds and everything else, anything that was going on. But this is where Steve worked. Steve Coakley worked here. So when I say these things that I'm saying, here's a brother that put things together, that don't make mistakes when he's putting these things together, because this is years of training, years of research, and special observation to see what's going on in the city, and how are we going to respond to the black people in the city to be able to help them. This is a fact. This is factual, right? So, and I want you to understand this. You have to understand it, brothers and sisters. You have to understand it. So, he gained notoriety as special assistant to the former mayor of Chicago, Harold Washington, right? Right? Now, prior to that, he gained notoriety through the people under the mayor who was before Harold Washington, who was Eugene Sawyer. Now let's talk about Eugene Sawyer. We're going to talk about Harold Washington too. We're going to talk about both of these. Because these are men that you should know. You have to know about them. You got to understand. Okay, so Eugene Sawyer, right? Who Steve Coakley first worked under. Brother Steve worked under Eugene Sawyer. It was, let me see, Eugene Sawyer served prior to Mayor Harold Washington. Then you had, he was American businessman. First of all, let me say that. He was an American businessman. He was an educator. And he was a politician. Sawyer was elected as the 53rd mayor of Chicago. 53rd mayor of Chicago. And after the death of Mayor Harold Washington, listen to this. Serving from December the 2nd, 1987 until April the 24th, 1989. Right? He was a member of the Democratic Party, which is very important when you understand what I'm saying. Very important. When black folks are tied in to the Democratic Party as part of the Boule, right? So when you got the black Congress, right, tied into the Democratic Party as the black Boule. So anything the Democratic Party does, the black Congress is going to go along with it, right? And that president, if he's Democratic or Republican, is going to sponsor them in their support. That's very important. Very important. The president, regardless, when it comes to doing something against black people, they are complicit. Understand that. The same with mayors, except black mayors. Black mayors look to gain the interest of the black community and do something for the black community. That is the reason why they're elected to office. Understand that. But they're boule, so they have to be in control, right, of the black district and everything that goes on in the black district. Same as when we got our only and first black president. What, he had to keep in control of the emotions of black people, right? But he couldn't do anything for black people. He had to win their trust, but only for control. You have to understand that. But no concrete advances are allowed. The only concrete advances that we'll get are the ones we make. I want to be clear about that. Now, Eugene Sawyer, all right, was the mayor of Chicago, Illinois, after the sudden death of Harold Washington. Understand this. Understand it. Serving from December 1987 to April the 24th, 1989. I met Brother Steve in 1986 through Brother Khalid. Now, understand this. Sawyer was an alderman and the second African American to serve as mayor of Chicago. What was the difference between Sawyer and Mayor Harold Washington? What was the difference? I'll explain it. I'm glad you asked. Harold Washington, they couldn't control. They could not control him. And when I say that, this is very, very powerful in itself and very earnest. I want to say greetings to Wise Man, Brother Wise Man. Greeting, brother. Greetings, peace to have you on this show. Certainly. And you can control him. Washington, he had a real concern for black people. Black people had literally got him there. Understand that. It was black people that had got him there. All the people that had come in on his campaign, he kept campaign promises for these black people that had got him there. So he came in, right? Remember we talked about in earlier shows how powerful it is for grassroots movement. That when you get a grassroots movement, you find a leader and you put that leader in certain places, and those same people come into the office of that leader, even if it's the religious movement, in the office of a pastor or a district moderator, whatever it may be, a bishop, whatever it may be, right? An imam, right? Minister, whatever it may be, the people around him is security, right? And not only is it secure to have the people around them, but also they guarantee the life extension of these people, right? This is important. This is important. But there are still certain rules to follow when you get into political office. First rule, right, without repentance, is to not trust the office itself. Not the people, but the office and the power that this office is supposed to yield to you. You can't trust it. Why? We talked about it before. We're in America, and this is not for us, right? The mayor's office wasn't made for us. The president's office wasn't made for us. All the in-between office, senator, representative. You can run for them. You can run for them. But when you run for them, you have to have the same ideology of black nationalism that you had outside the office. You have to bring it inside the office. Because as a rule of thumb, you can't trust a white man. You can't trust him. Okay, so Harold Washington was much different. And when you look at him, even the picture shows you an aggressive man. You know, self-made. There's nothing more scary than a self-made black man. Right? I'm saying this because I'm laying the groundwork to explain to you about Steve, to show you how you make no mistake, because it was Steve, right, who served under Harold Washington, who helped organize that committee to get him elected, who strategized. He was also a political analyst, strategized to get this man elected, brought black folks together. He was no stranger to Minister Louis Farrakhan, and he knew much about him. He had been in Chicago, New York. He was familiar with black leaders in Atlanta. He was a well-bred brother, but he was one of the most humble brothers that you ever want to meet in your life. So, remember I told you that Harold Washington held office. Steve Coakley was the special assistant, right, to the office of the mayor, right? Okay. Harold Washington himself, now I want you to look at this, was an American lawyer and politician. Listen. Now, we talked about the brother that took over when Harold Washington had passed. And this is very important. Very, very important. Because I want you to understand that a businessman is the most ruthless, black businessman is one of the most ruthless positions to have and to be in when you're in politics. Because you're therefore, if you believe in integration and you're a black businessman, I want you to understand this. It goes against everything that you have learned about independent business. Because there's something you have to do in order to gain the support of politicians, right, that are white. They want you to prove yourself. And this is where the Judas factors come in. Understand this. Now, in the 1987 election, understand this. We're going to talk, one day we're going to talk about Harold Washington, but I want you to understand this because this is the core of what Brother Coakley had talked about, this very core of what he discussed. A lot of stuff he didn't even get a chance to put out on tapes back then because we was using VHS. And if you look at even some of the recordings of me, they're very old. They're very old. Recordings of him are very old. You have to, some of them you couldn't even save when we were taping them. We couldn't even save it because the heat would mess up the VHS. Right, we had to have a cool place for it. Anybody that had a VHS understand it. You don't run into that problem with a DVD, right? But you'll run into that problem with a VHS. But in 1987 election, this is very important. Washington defeated a former mayor, Jane Burney. Now, a lot of people don't know who Jane Burney was, but I'm about to tell you. Jane Burney, right? Or her real name was Burks, Jane Burke, right? This devil was an American politician, first woman to be elected mayor. First white woman, right? First white woman to be elected mayor, right? Of a major city in the United States. Understand this. We're talking about the liberation movement. Remember, anytime you got a white woman in politics, this is liberation. Now, I told you that the LGBT is one of the most dangerous organizations that black people can be involved in because they'll sell themselves and do anything for a position. Understand this. Black people that are associated with organizations that are extremely fascist, extremely racist, like the LGBT, like the white women's liberation movement. You gotta say white women because black women are certainly not liberated, right? Because the black man is not liberated. But they will use black people in awesome ways as pawns, right, for their own success. Now, and I said it to say this, that's why I say the civil rights movement was nothing more than a sexual revolution. Because after that, you saw all these sexual marches, sexual advances in the late 60s, late 70s, early 80s. And then you saw white people fighting for this same-sex marriage. Isn't that right? And you had black fools, black idiots, ignorant people, right? Putting their lives on the line, marrying each other, defaming themselves, right? And dying through sexual diseases, and many of them being killed, right? And these sexual triangles with white people, and also the white counterparts. Many of them were black business people, right? They had done a lot of evil for white people. And all you have to do is research this. I have that in a book, Racism, the White Man's Illness, if you want it. We're just finishing that book, but you can certainly get it. But you also want to get another book called Black Rage 2. Black Rage 2. We talk about it there. We talk about who killed Minister Malcolm X and why was he killed. Book 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you get a certain thumbnail sketch of everything that's going on. And this is important. Why is it important? Because the same action is happening every day, brother. And we're allowing these leaders to hoodwink us, lead us astray, bamboozle us, right? Run us amok. We don't know what's going on. We have to question, have to be able to question, and we have to have knowledge in order to be able to question these leaders. I'm not beyond reproach. You're not beyond reproach. No black leader is beyond reproach. That's stuff that the white man does. And anytime you see a black leader acting beyond reproach with people that he should answer to, his black people, his black supporters, then you know the white man has his finger on it. You know that he's got his hand in his back, moving him like a puppet, brothers and sisters. So this Jane Burney, right? Jane Margaret Burney, whose real name was Jane Burke, and she used that name, Jane Burke, in her civilian life. This is important for you to know. So she was an American politician, first white woman to be elected mayor of a major city in all the United States. Think about that. Just think about that for a minute, and you'll get it. Now, she served as the 50th mayor of Chicago in April the 16th, 1979, when she was elected, right? Until April the 29th, 1983. Look, I want you to listen to what's going on. Bernie won the Chicago mayor election. This is when liberation is happening now. Remember the women's liberation movement? Remember the women's liberation movement. This is when the liberation is happening. Liberation is happening around this time. The white woman's liberation movement. I told you it's white because black women are still not liberated. If you're liberated, you have what the white woman has. Isn't that right? So, and it wasn't nothing about black men and women or white men, white women. The liberation movement is a movement of the LGBTQ movement prior to its getting its name. Prior to it getting its name. You have to understand that. And they had to put people in powerful offices to be able to maneuver because they could use black people. Remember, you got to have a position inside of the kingdom. When you playing chess, right, the rook has a move that it has to make. The knight has a move it has to make. Isn't that right? Right? They have moves to make. The bishop has a move that he has to make. Right? The queen has a move that she has to make, and she can move anywhere. She can move left, right, left, move anywhere. And then you got the king. Why is the king's move limited and the queen's move is limited? We're going to talk about that. So, because, right, the woman is the life of the country. You understand me, brothers and sisters? That's why the black man needs to understand that no nation rises any higher than its woman. The black woman must be raised to the height of queenship in education, in treatment, as a mother, as a spiritual person. And in the place of righteousness, she has to be raised there. And this is the teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is his teaching. Right? And he explained it to us, right? Because the minute we raise that woman up, then we can rear the children. But we first got to get the attention by servicing and in many respects, brothers and sisters, understand what worship means, to hold one's up in one's authentic position. Right? What one deserves. Not the white man's definition of it. Right? But hold our woman up in the position that she deserves. So in that form of righteousness, that we hold her up and support her in her position. Now, in saying that, we talk about the liberation movement with white people, talking about this devil, Jane Margaret Burney. We're going to talk about that devil later on. We're going to talk about that devil. I can't get into the way I want to, but I want you to understand that Steve is organizing the campaign for Mayor Harold Watson. He organized this campaign. And you're going to see how it ties in. I'm not off. Trust me, I'm not off. You're going to see how it ties in. So she served as the 50th mayor of Chicago, right? And not only that, brothers and sisters, but interesting enough, from April the 16th, 1979, and she slept her way to the top. Slept her way to the top, both men and women. I want you to understand that. This is true. She herself became familiar with the LGBT movement, LGBTQ movement, the lesbian movement, right? The homosexual, bisexual movement. She became familiar with it. It was a vehicle. You understand what I'm saying? Bernie won Chicago mayor election April 3rd, 1979, becoming the first female mayor of the city, the second largest city in the United States. And it's not until now, look at this. Look at this. I want to point this out too. It's not until Lori Lightfoot in 2019, she was the only female mayor of Chicago. Until Lightfoot won it. Prior to her tenure as mayor, Bernie served as Chicago commissioner of consumer sales, 1969. Remember the liberation movement, right? The sexual revolution, right? She served as commissioner of consumer sales. Somebody said, well, that's not important. Well, consumer protection is the practice of safeguarding buyers, goods, and services, right? And the public, listen, against unfair practices in the marketplace. Consumer protection measures, brothers and sisters, are often established by law. Who's making the laws? White folks. Who are they making it against? Us. Who are arrested and followed and harassed as consumers? We are. We are arrested. We're harassed as consumers. Right? Right? Such laws are intended to prevent businesses from engaging in fraud or specified unfair practices. Now, most black people, I've never seen any white people, businesses get flagged for fraudulent behavior. Never seen it in my life. Our businesses are affected. Why? Because they're black. Everything the white man does, he does it against the black. Have you noticed that on the chessboard, you've got black and white pieces, right? Light and dark pieces. Brothers and sisters, this is speaking a language. The white man's war is against us. His war is against us. Anytime he came in through the Platonic War, which was white people coming out of the Mediterranean and fighting in Africa to take over Carthage, which is present-day Libya, Northern Africa, also coming through the portal of Malta, which is Northern Africa. He was coming to take that land to invade. And before they did any invasion, they immigrated physically with us to produce mulatto children. We talked about the mulattoes yesterday. What do? This is a pawn for the white man to destabilize black government, to destabilize black kingdom. Once they've done that and produced enough children that are mixed, sort of cool off the coffee, right? Because black folks, black coffee, no sugar, no cream. I'm trying to explain this to you. Once they put enough cream and sugar in that coffee, then after that, they've taken out the power of the coffee. They take the coffee is not good anymore. It used to keep you awake. Now it put you to sleep. Right? It used to be strong. Now it's weak. So it loses its power. Why are we talking about that? Lori Lightfoot, what is she? An American attorney and a politician serving, right? Today, she's serving. She got to office in 2019. She's a member of the what? Democratic Party, right? Before becoming mayor, Lightfoot worked as a what? Private legal practice as partner at Mayor Brown and held various governmental positions. What is Mayor Brown's legal practice? Controlled and run by the Daily Machine, right? The Daily Machine is the white people's network created by Richard M. Daley, right? One of the most racist mayors that we ever seen, and he's a slick trickster. Or was, he's dead now. When you get time, look up the Daily Machine. Now, anybody that worked for them, your antenna should be straight up. They wouldn't let another black man. They fought it. They have fought it for years. Mayor Harold Washington made it as difficult as possible for any other black man to get in that position, because he himself wanted to see true change. Now, who helped him get that position? Steve Coakley. Coakley, this is before the death of Mayor Harold Washington, because I'm going to tell you how he died. And Coakley realizes this too. He understands what's going on. All skinfolk are not kinfolk. We understand that. We have to understand that. Steve Coakley served with Mayor Harold Washington, right? And Washington became the first African American to be elected to the city, right? April 1983. He served from April the 29th, 1983, until his death in November the 25th, 1987. Okay? Listen to this. Washington became involved in the local Third Ward politics under Chicago alderman and future congressman, right? Ralph Metcalf. Metcalf was a heavy black brother, right? He came to the scene as a sprinter. He was an athlete. A lot of people don't know that, right? But he was also a politician. He held a world record in the 100-meter dash, placed second second in the events, two Olympic events, right? A lot of people don't know this. This brother was in Los Angeles, 1936. No, matter of fact, yes, he was. 1932, he was in Thailand. But 1936, he was in Los Angeles with Jesse Owens. And this is how he got noted. The brother was extremely intelligent in politics and how to move with black people. And he organized and helped form black people, right? He told Harold Washington that if you're going to make it as mayor, you're going to have to understand the needs of black folks. And you need to get that by getting your hands dirty, right? Getting deep. What they really meant politically to black people is getting your hands in the mud for the black community. Now, when a white man tell you to get your hands dirty, you got to get your hands dirty by doing some dirty stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Harold Washington was sent there not from somebody white, not from a white organization, but from another brother that was a realist. Jesse Owens was a revolutionary. A lot of people, Jackie Robinson, a revolutionary. It was black people, for black people, right? For us, by us. So Metcalf trained him, right? Metcalf went to Roosevelt University, also went to Northwestern, there in the city of Chicago, School of Law. Washington was a member of the U.S. House of Representatives from 1981 to 1983, representing Illinois' 1st District. He still had work, he had history in the local Third Ward politics, which is where the real work has to happen. The South Side, every place where black folk was, right? Because if I get over a black district, then I'm able to do things. They're forced to do whatever they need to do for this district. That's the thing. So he already served as a representative, but he needed to make some effective change, right? So Washington had previously served as the Illinois State Senate. A lot of people don't know that. Illinois House of Representatives from 1965 to 1976. This Negro was so smart and so heavy, they had to do something about it. He finds Steve Coakley giving lectures, right, about black nationalism, right, about black politics, and his analysis as it relates to black politics. You have to know that. You have to know that. And so definitely, Brother Cryptonomics, peace be unto you. I'll be on there tonight. I'm very interested to know who this brother is. And my desire and prayer is that I can save him from any kind of miseducation that he has. I will certainly be there, and I won't miss it. And after that, it'll be me and Cryptonomics. This is going to be Dr. Millere versus Cryptonomics. I'm going to have Brother Taharka to set it up. All right, brother. Always good to see you, and I certainly look forward to seeing y'all tonight on the show. Certainly look forward to that. And so, our sister, another pillar of the show, Sister Donna, we certainly thank all praise be Allah for you and showing up, and Brother Derek Witherspoon, another pillar of the show. We certainly thank Allah for you showing up. We thank God or Jesus, whatever you want. We thank you for being here tonight and thinking enough of us to want to hear what we have to say. Because this is a very powerful show, and being able to teach the knowledge of black liberation theology and black nationalism, Pan-Africanism. We got a job tonight, but we're going to deliver. This intelligent brother, Harold Washington, could not be controlled. He had a special assistant, a grassroots organizer, second to none, Steve Coakley. They don't get any better than Coakley. They don't get any better than Coakley. I told you about Coakley. He held 3 positions, or 3 minds, so to speak, for Mayor Harold Washington. this brother, and we're going to get on to what our subject is toward this assassination. But I want to build the foundation to tell you that this brother don't make any mistake. But when he put certain knowledge out, his life was in danger from one of the most powerful black organizations in the world. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I know, brothers and sisters. I speak what I know. This brother was an American political researcher, a lecturer, and he had research. He could perfectly research assassinations. He could perfectly research national and political issues as far as it related to the economy of African Americans. The brother could do it. 1988, he was on CNN through a teleconference talking about the very same thing. What was going on in 1988? He began to talk about and it wasn't the first conversation he was having, brothers and sisters. But everything he spoke was foundational. We talked about the Bildergroup yesterday. We talked about Trilateral Commission, right? Talked about all of those things. He organized for Mayor Harold Washington such a powerful campaign. Each one teach one and reach one. The most powerful campaign that anybody had ever seen. And you have to take into account his age, brothers and sisters, at the time. Because prior to that, he was giving other lectures of black nationalism, black power. So it wasn't something that he just came up with. He was already on this stuff on the scene. He was already talking about futurology. He was already talking about water conservation. He was already talking about organic farming. He was already talking about communal living. All black people, true nationalists, that were concerned about these things, already talking about independent business, right? He had to support himself on the road to put this knowledge out. A lot of us didn't want to pay the brother for what he deserved to be paid. So many of us worked over and beyond and donated massive amount of money to make sure the brother was all right when he took off. He talked about the black boule, which had other professional blacks working against him. But he had some people in his corner. He had Dr. Coretta King in his corner. He had, I want to say Dick Gregory, but brothers and sisters, I told you all about Dick Gregory. We're going to talk about him one day too. A lot of people are going to be upset. They're going to be mad. A lot of people are going to be mad, but we're going to have the conversation. We're going to have the conversation. And so in certain instances, Dick Gregory would always arrive on the scene, pop in there, right? You have to be strategic on the game of chess. Understand that. Because he's still a black that holds certain portion of leadership for people. So there are still people under that spell. We'll talk about it. Now, he also had Sister Betty Shabazz in his corner, right? And other the family of Sister Betty Shabazz, family of Dr. King, family of every major black leader you can name. He had the participation of every black rap artist at that time. I'm not talking about the sellout rap artist. I'm talking about the real rap artist, right? Ron DMC, the Dungeon Family, Nappy Roots. There's a lot of participation of people who donated time, right? And he had created a type of chitlin circuit back channel where he could talk to these people. A lot of y'all don't know what the chitlin circuit is. That's black folks dealing with black folks. Plainly spoken, brothers and sisters. And so this brother was powerful in his connections. You know, that's so much we don't have enough time to really talk about all of it. There's a lot of other stuff I want to say, but just keep in mind that when Copeland was assistant to the special assistant to committee rules under Harold Washington, he had gained all of his notoriety. But prior to that, he gained notoriety as he served as special assistant to the mayor of Chicago, Eugene Sawyer. Eugene Sawyer, I just told you about him. Remember, anytime you got, and I want you to keep this in mind, anytime you got a black American businessman who talks of integration, who believes in the white man's education, and I'm talking about believing it, I'm not talking about using it to maneuver it, right? To believe in it. And also work his position to serve whites, he's an enemy of the black man. That's what Eugene Sawyer was. After Mayor Harold Washington is killed, listen to what I'm saying, because this is going to apply to Dr. Khalid, right? Because a lot of the same funny moves that happened to Dr. Khalid, same funny moves that happened to Mayor Chokwe Lumumba, right? Same funny moves that happened to Mayor Harold Washington, right? The same funny moves from the people that was around them, right? Caused them to be dead. Steve let us know this was called the formula and algorithm for assassination. Copeland was criticized for teaching that Jewish doctors were using the AIDS virus in an attempt to genocide the black community, which was the truth, and to commit genocide against Africans, which was the truth. He committed that. This is his comment. Now, I want you to understand that we going over this because I'm telling you, the brother made no mistakes. No mistakes. I'm telling you where his retraction came from. He committed that these Jews were trying to kill blacks and kill Africans with this AIDS virus, giving it a false entrance, right? A false cameo on the scene. In other words, they didn't give the correct information about it, where it came from and all of that. And then they said that it came from blacks. Then they had a story said it came from a green monkey with a U.S. service member. So they came up with all these stories. But it was, like any other disease, the white man said the black community is more susceptible than anybody else, right? That's what he says. Because then he can start inoculating you and taking you out. Sounds familiar? Then he said with COVID. Then he said with what's the other? I can't even get into that. Matter of fact, I won't even get into it because I don't want them to flag this. Last time I talked about viruses, where they came from, why they were created, and they took those shows completely off air. So I can't even get into that right now. That's why we're fighting to get our own channels, our own show, brothers and sisters. But with that being said, his comments created a national publicized controversy in 1988. This is when he went on CNN, televised on CNN, 1988. He was dismissed from his position as aide to Sawyer. Now remember, he started out with Mayor Harold Washington, a black nationalist, a Pan-Africanist, somebody who was involved in the South Side, which is a black community. That's Black Chicago. He started out with Mayor Harold Washington, brothers and sisters. You have to understand this. But how many know that anytime you get a black leader that is raising up the masses, we talk about the black messiahs, there are many of us that fall into that category. We are the messianic race. All of us can be a messiah at one point or another, brothers and sisters. So look at Mayor Harold Washington in his rise as a black messiah. Also look at Brother Coakley as a black messiah, also prophet, right? Who is in a position, right? He's in the position. And once he's in this position, he's going to do good for the black man. This causes trouble, right? Because a lot of the Jews don't like this. They got to get rid of Harold Washington, right? And they got to turn around and get rid of Steve Coakley, right? So these charges are brought, right? He's dismissed from his position with Sawyer, right? They came for Coakley after that because they blackballed him in every particular job that he could ever get in. The brother created his own lecture series. Start talking about these things, such as the Builders Group. We talked about the Rothschild, right? The control. These are the powerful Jewish communities, right? The Trilateral Commission, right? The powerful Jewish communities, plus there are other races like Japan. Anybody white to be against the black man, to be against Africa, to be against the African born in America, right? Right? So in 1990, this is in during the administration of the administration of James Thompson in Chicago. 1990, the Illinois governor, James Thompson, signed an agreement to open an Israeli aircraft industry plant in Rockford, Illinois. If you're older, you remember this. But if you don't, look it up. was an outstanding opponent without exception, merely the only one. One of the only ones. Understand this. Who is in Chicago? Who has the power in Chicago? Right? Cotton East, 76. Right? Who has the power? Brothers and sisters, this happened in 1990. The pressure is on. Steve Coakley and Dr. Khalid Muhammad are working together. The pressure is on. Right? Dr. Khalid is still in the nation at this time, but he's still with Steve, still building up forces. He's the reason that Farrakhan had become as popular as a leader with black people and pulling Muslims in because of this Dr. Khalid Muhammad and his close aide, Steve Coakley. You have to understand this. Again, look at the time, 1990. So, what happens? Coakley is an outstanding opponent, one of the few on this. There was no one else. There was no leader, religious or otherwise, who was black, who was really campaigning against this. Because they're afraid of them Jews. You have to understand that. Because they don't want to lose their little money or whatever. Those of us that stand out, right? We can't work in the white man's community anymore. We know that. So that's why we need your support, brothers and sisters. That's why we need your support. Now, he argued that black leaders in Illinois should oppose the Israeli war. Listen. The Israeli industries, right? Because of the military support for apartheid in South Africa. What does that mean? What does that mean? It means that he was creating a microscope for a global view of what was happening in America and what was happening globally around the nation. He was creating this. Without exception, there was no other person that was doing this. Now, peace be unto you, Brother LD, peace. We miss anybody, Brother Etheric God, peace. Peace be unto you. Let's read from our section tonight. Brother LD, peace, peace, Brother Mauricelm. Yes, Brother Coakley was the genius. That's right, brother. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that. Our sister said, wasn't Mr. Washington an attorney? He was an attorney. Yes, ma'am. He was a well-known attorney, Sister Donna. Well-known attorney and could do both corporate, political, public law, right, and jurisprudence. Was one of the best. They didn't come like Mayor Harold Washington. And he, again, the first black man to make it and as mayor in Chicago when it was unpopular. He ran when it was unpopular without black people's support. Coakley built up support for him along with Dr. Khalid Muhammad and other Muslims. Built up support for him. They fought to get in there. Now, none of the major black leaders really put any power behind him. None of the major black leaders, I said none of the major black leaders put any support behind him. This is something he did through the nationalist community, right? With the exception of Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Dr. Khalid Muhammad and Coakley were very instrumental in this, behind the scenes and building up that community. But Coakley, what was the builder, was the major builder. He got access to his black brothers and sisters who had some influence, but he himself was the catalyst for this win. And this says a whole lot because he's very mathematical and he's very strategic and he has a great memory. He has an outstanding memory. He never forgets anybody. He never forgets the promise that are made. And he made Mayor Harold Washington keep these promises. So this is very important. Brother LD says, and who the foundation that will fund these organizations? My God, that's right. That's right. The Jewish foundations was certainly doing. They're gonna always anytime a white man got a coon, he gonna always pay him. I don't care who it is. And he'll call it this or call it that. But the fact that he's getting money from the government, unless the government is giving that money to every business organization, then you already know that he's selling out. If they just give it to him and you look around every time you turn around, no matter how bad the community is doing, they flourishing, buying cars, buying property, you know the white man's finger is in it. His finger is in it. And that's common sense. You'll never have a black man put in front of you, right, really concerned about black nationalism. The white man ain't going to allow it. So anytime you get a black man coming before you, right, and he seems to be concerned about black nationalism, you already know that the white man has his finger in it. He's in it. So you already know it. And our brother Chuck D. Yes, sir. Chuck D. Talking about the rapper. Chuck D. He's powerful, brother. He is powerful. Yes, sir. Sister, we talked about monkeypox. They told me I couldn't talk about it. They also said it was a problem with my license. They took that off and they put a strike against me on YouTube. So I can't even discuss those things, right? I can't even discuss it. But that's the kind of, that's the kind of beast it is. That's why we're trying to get our own show. That's why I need everybody's support. I need your support. What we're doing, the white man ain't gonna let us come on these shows and then, sponsor it, even though he made it, just so we can see what everybody's talking about, what's going on. It's same as Facebook. We have to use it for ourselves so we can do better, brothers and sisters, to bring this knowledge out. And so, these powerful brothers, they were powerful, brother. That our sister, a theory God, said that he was an amazingly intelligent. He was, and he wasn't stingy with knowledge. He wasn't stingy. Now you all remember this show, Our Roots Run Deep, right? When Coakley had gained a national spotlight, it was 1996. 1996. He was scheduled to speak at this program, Our Roots Run Deep. It's a Black History lecture, right? Black History Month. I'll never forget this as long as I live. And the lecture series was happening in New York. The Warner Brothers Music Group was sponsoring this lecture, right? It was hosted by the Warner Brothers Music Group. Now, these are Jews. All right. There were people scheduled to speak. Al Sharpton was scheduled to speak. Conrad Muhammad was, Brother Conrad X. Conrad Muhammad, same brother that showed one of the few brothers that showed love to Dr. Khalid. One of the few brothers that showed love to Dr. Khalid. When he was ousted, because he didn't leave, they put him out, and for some old weak reason, lies. I can't even deal with it. Because we ain't gonna touch all of that right now, but we are gonna touch it. You had Al Sharpton, Conrad Muhammad, Jimmy Castor. If you remember Jimmy Castor, you had Hannibal Lucombe. You had myself. I was scheduled. Dick Gregory was scheduled there. They would not let, I couldn't speak. They wouldn't let Steve speak. They wouldn't let Conrad Muhammad speak. The Jewish Defense Organization. Look now, right? Dr. Khalid with me in 1986 created African American Defense League, Tunica, Mississippi. Right in Tunica, Mississippi. This common knowledge among Elijah Muslims. The charter was passed to us at an Elijah Muslim Mosque, Highway 61 North, right? In Mississippi, Tunica, Mississippi. You can head to Old Highway headed to Memphis. You'll pass it on the right-hand side. If you're going on the new Highway 61, you'll pass it on the left-hand side as you're headed to Memphis. So right after you cross the bridge, and you get to Tunica, you cross the bridge from Arkansas and get to Tunica, then you get to Highway 61, you're going to pass that old Muslim mosque. It used to be used as a Muslim mosque, and the brothers and sisters that Baptist churches used too when they were doing revival. So I just want to say, they want to point that out. The Jewish Defense Organization objected, organizing a call in Washington, right? And organizing a call to the Warner Group, Warner Brothers, threatening a boycott. Look, The Jewish Defense Organization, here's a racist organization that have been attacking black people ever since they've been in inception, right? Ever since they came on the scene. And they went a thug organization, right? Because all the white folks are thugs. All the big business, white people are thugs. You know, the only difference in the mafia is that they don't hide it. But all of them do the same thing. They said, no, we can't let these black people come in and do this. We ain't gonna let Steve Coakley come in. Coakley was the real problem. Coakley was the real problem. He had all these groups together. And you had rappers, you had Black Nationals Organization, you had Sister Soldier, oh my God. And you had Dr. Khalid, right? They're on the scene. I mean, it was going to be amazing. But brothers and sisters, they organized a call-in campaign to Washington, D.C., and a call-in campaign to Warner Brothers. I told you, no move is made without the president knowing about it. Warner Brothers threatened to boycott the Anti-Defamation League, another racist Jewish organization. Racist. Anti-Defamation League and the New York Post. Look, a newspaper that's supposed to be biased, run by the Jews, objected to Coakley, as well as Al Sharpton and Muhammad, right, and myself for speaking. This is fact. Okay, so Warner removed Coakley and Muhammad. I only had a space because of Steve. Other than that, I wasn't really on the agenda. I can be thankful for that. But they didn't want Conrad for sure. They didn't want Conrad Muhammad. You remember he was called the hip hop minister. They didn't want Conrad Muhammad. Conrad was putting fire on the white man's behind. And he's still putting fire on the white man's behind on his radio show in New York. He's still fighting black nationalism. He's a black Christian nationalist, still fighting and still helping brothers and sisters in the Muslim movement. He's still a black nationalist, right? And he's had some close calls himself. But they didn't want him on there, so they removed Coakley, removed Muhammad without issuing a press release, brothers and sisters. They didn't want nobody knowing about it. This is fact. So it was hot and heavy. This was hot and heavy. Now, Brother Coakley, him and Khalid became real close. Him and Dr. Khalid became extra close at the time. And I know I'm going to have to shut it down, brothers and sisters, guys. We're going to have to pick this up tomorrow. But they got extra close at this time. It's in 1993. They're still building up the black national movement, still working heavy, still working hard. Coakley identified that took over for Millere Washington. Coakley finally was able to identify him as belonging to the white man, right? He identified Eugene Sawyer as belonging to the white man, right? And they had to get Sawyer in to fire Coakley and find some reason to fire Coakley because it was all a setup because Millere Washington was about the brothers and sisters. He was a black nationalist. He wasn't going to fire. He came in at the right time to do what? To make change for black people. So you have to know that. Now, in saying that, I want you to understand, brothers and sisters, that Coakley and Dr. Khalid is working so heavily together at this time because Dr. Khalid is wanted by the rap groups. He's wanted by black nationalists. He's wanted by black Christian nationalists. He's loved by the National Baptist Convention. The black ministers would have him to come in, right? And he's the standard for Muslim, just like Minister Malcolm X was the standard for Muslim during the time of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, right? And so that's why I tell you, Muhammad had nothing to do with the death of Minister Malcolm. We already know that's tied to Minister Louis Farrakhan. He can't deny it. And when he was supposed to be in Boston, Temple number 11, he was in Newark at that temple, right? The temple in Newark, right? And the men came from the temple of Newark that were planning to assassinate Minister Malcolm X. Now, there was a brother, this is important, brothers and sisters, because you have to know it. There was a brother in the Nation of Islam, right, named James Best, who had been in the Nation of Islam from 1959, right, all the way to the time when Farrakhan had, and I'm going to say this, had completed the coup d'etat for the government to take over one part of the Nation of Islam, and when Wallace Muhammad had completed his duties in the coup d'etat, American coup d'etat, to take over the other people in the Nation of Islam and split the Nation of Islam, right, with teaching, right? One went toward the American Sunni Islam movement, right, and the other went toward the Nation of Islam as it relates to Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I say as it relates to Minister Louis Farrakhan because Farrakhan is teaching Dianetics, right? He's studying all this stuff. He's saying one thing and doing another. In 1986, he had already said that one day white Muslims, right? White people will be able to join the Nation of Islam, and he caused a lot of people to walk out and leave him when he said that, because the Book of Wisdom, right, tells us that no white man can be saved. That's what it tells us. No white man can be saved. So this becomes a problem. Don't forget to thumbs up, to like, and subscribe, brothers and sisters. I certainly need you to do that. And I certainly want to put my cash up down here. We're winding it down with time because I want to certainly do the other show. And definitely need y'all support. If you see any book you may want, you can go to the support, the pin that's on top of the support page. We need your support, brothers and sisters. We're still trying to sell those 2 books, and this month we got to sell 5 other books. So we're trying to sell 7 books. We really need your support and your help. If you can't buy a book, please donate to the Cash App that I put inside of the comment section, and we thank you for that, everything that you do, and I'll certainly let you know that I got the Cash App when I get it. But to get back on the subject, brothers and sisters, this move, right? This move of Dr. Khalid Muhammad and Steve begins to get a massive following. Massive following. Now, we go to James Best, who was in the Nation of Islam from 1959 to the time that the power was usurped through, right, coup d'etat, governmental coup d'etat of the Nation of Islam under Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and so you had Louis Farrakhan to usurp part of that movement. You had Wallace Muhammad to usurp the other part of the movement. And James Best was a part of the hit team that was to assassinate Minister Malcolm X, where they flew them from California all the way over to the East Coast. And there were other brothers that were killed too. Up to the time they were killing Minister Malcolm, they killed every literal support he had. You know about Gene Roberts, you know about the Muslims, some of the Muslims that came in the movement with Minister Malcolm that were working against them from the inside. But you know that there were brothers that were standing with Minister Malcolm, right? There were brothers that knew that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad did not put a hit on Minister Malcolm. This is a lie. This is what the government had put out. Now, this same James Best was the one that shot Dr. Khalid Muhammad in the attempt to kill him. This is in 1994 in Riverside, California, right? 1994. So, brothers and sisters, this is where we're going to end this at. I want you to think about that. James Best, Riverside, and he was in the Nation from 1959 to the time that Farrakhan had taken over. He came there as a young youth that needed training, needed instruction, didn't get it because he bullied people to make them buy the Muhammad Speak newspaper, which was very dissatisfying to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Also, he was a fanatic for Minister Farrakhan even back then, before Farrakhan was a name. This brother killed his own blood brother, right, and got off. He didn't do a day in jail. He also was in the same killing of Minister Malcolm, right? His hands are totally clean. He's washed. Nobody ever brings him up. His brother also shot Dr. Khalid Muhammad in Riverside, California, 1994. He never did a day in jail. This man was noted as one of the best friends of Minister Louis Farrakhan by Farrakhan's own mouth. So, brothers and sisters, this stuff had to be discussed, right? We're going to stop right here, and we're going to pick it up. Dr. Khalid is shot, right? Farrakhan doesn't visit Dr. Khalid. In the hospital after he's shot, he doesn't visit Dr. Khalid on any occasion. He stays away from him except until, and this is the first assassination attempt, he stays away from until 3 weeks before Dr. Khalid is killed. Right? And we're gonna talk about that toward the next time. I don't want to overrun or put too much on you, but this is something good to study for those of you that want to research this show. But brothers and sisters, please, brothers and sisters, you all follow me over to Huckabee Show. Don't forget, brothers and sisters, please sponsor us. Purchase something. We need it. We need to sell those 7 books now. We need to any cash app that you have. We thank you for that. Brothers and sisters, we're not begging because we have products, and I'm going to pin those products. Matter of fact, some of the ones are books, and I want to pin another product what brothers were gracious enough to make for us at no charge, which are the watches. They made certain paraphernalia that you can also get, and in this way we're helping them and also help ourselves when we're able to sell what they have given us. So we're thankful, we're blessed to have brothers and sisters that are trying to help us in this journey, because you already know that I won't be able to get nothing from the white man, not speaking like this. And so I don't fool myself, brothers and sisters, and I just continue on serving our people the best way that I possibly can. So brothers and sisters, do follow us over there, and I'm going to get off of this show at this time, but I'll be seeing you very soon. Seeing you again very soon on Brother Tahak's show to see what's going on there, brothers and sisters, and let's just hear what the brother has to say. As a matter of fact, I want him to speak first, just to see what he has to say. But he seemed like a good brother, and our job and duty is to build up the Black Nationalist Network, not to tear it down. So we welcome our brother, and we'll speak truth. We're going to be strong, we're going to be steady, but nonetheless, we're going to certainly listen to our brother. Brothers and sisters, so I'm signing off again, early as usual, but I'm nonetheless signing off, and I thank God for you so much. And I say unto you, as I said in the beginning, peace be unto you, and peace be unto us all. And may God bless you in every possible thing that you're doing. And I pray that I've said something to spark your intelligence, so that you'll be able to hear what's going on and be able to disperse his knowledge correctly to someone else. I say unto one and unto all, Assalamu alaikum.